Let's get it back to East High School. Our Jasmine Arenas with the police chief.
We have agreed to have 2 officers within the school for the remainder of the school year, and we will continue to meet with the school board to determine safety protocols for the rest of the schools in the school system.
Obviously, it's not a space we want to be in right now, right? Just a couple weeks ago, Luis Garcia got shot just outside of the high school. There were protests, and now what do you think students need from just officers to feel like they're being protected?
I think that it should be a significant concern that students feel as though they are not being heard. I want them to know that they are being heard by me, but I think that they need to be heard by others. I think they need to be heard by the school board and other members of this community to understand that a lot needs to be done in order to provide for their safety. Not just having an armed presence within the schools to provide that perception of safety, but I think that we need to address the access to guns, because this individual today got that weapon from somewhere, and so I think that is a significant issue and concern that needs to be addressed as well. We need to make sure that people that shouldn't have guns aren't allowed to obtain them.
And do you believe it was a mistake to remove school resource officers from schools?
I don't want to go so far as to characterize that as a mistake. I mean, certainly it's not something that I agreed with. I think that the primary reason for having officers in schools, separate and distinct from the safety component, is the opportunity to build bridges and establish relationships, healthy relationships between young people and law enforcement. And so I'm hopeful to have that opportunity again to build and sustain those relationships. And certainly, particularly at this school where a community is hurting and has suffered a number of tragedies, I think that we need to address their need to feel safe.
And you did mention that with this student, you were often and every other morning or every morning checking them to make sure that they didn't have any weapons. Today was just the day. What goes into ensuring that students get checked every day?
So I think it's important to point out that this particular student had a safety plan specific to him. Because of previous challenges, I think that the school board felt as though it was appropriate to check this student to make sure that they did not have any articles on them that didn't belong in the school, and that had been done, on a regular routine basis prior to this day, and nothing had been recovered from this particular person. So that safety plan had been working. Today, for whatever reason, the person did have a weapon that he drew and fired a number of shots.
Thank you.
So, thank you.
Well, you heard it straight from the police chief here. They will keep working on ensuring that they protect these students, and those plans will continue to unravel as the weeks go by. I'm sending it back to you, Kelly.
All right, Jasmine, thank you so much for that live report.
We want to show you video now of what happened when the police chief went and tried to speak to parents outside of East High School. You can see the emotion there. We know that parents had some choice words, some words that we're not allowed to show on television, but some of what we've heard from the parents is that they're hurt, that they're fearful, that this is simply too much, and that they want to see action. And I think what they feel like is that their words are falling hollow. Yeah, right. And that that no one is hearing them out. And so I think that's part of what you're seeing right here with this man obviously expressing his frustration. I can only imagine what's going through his mind. Concern for his student who was likely at East High School today. Concern for the 2 people who were shot today. Right. Concern about what happens the next time and what will be done, if anything, to try and make there not be a next time.
Right. Well, I mean, they know that they'll be safe at least because the next 3 days they're not going to school. Yeah. I mean, there's no school at East High School through the rest of the week. They're working on plans, as we just heard from the police chief. I got to tell you, I have friends who are parents within the Denver public school system, and some are texting me saying, that enough is enough, that they are wondering if maybe their kids need to transfer someplace else. I mean, all of this is emotion, right? That this is an understandable reaction, like we just saw with that gentleman, and parents who are echoing those concerns of like, when will this stop? up. Well, right now, because of what is happening at East High School, there is a lot of road closures in that area. Mackenzie O'Keefe joining us with the latest traffic update.
Yes, good morning. We're taking a live look here from Copter 4 and the scene of that area. A lot of police activity, as we were just taking a look at, a lot of parents there on the scene as well. So I do want to get to that unification area where students can be picked up by their families. That is at 17th Avenue and City Park Esplanade. That is right here along 17th to the south of City Park. So road is blocked, 17th Avenue. You cannot get through it. Traffic is being routed off into City Park. So again, this is the area where parents can go to pick up their students at this point this morning. Here's a wider look at that area. East High School, of course, south of City Park there. The roads that are closed, again, 17th and that area, the City Park Esplanade right in front of the high school is completely shut down, as well as 16th right here leading into the front of the high school. That's due to all of the law enforcement, police activity, investigation taking place there. We also know some roads in that neighborhood also impacted, such as Colfax to the south. Traffic is still allowed on Colfax, but still a lot of people slowing up to take a look at this. Also know that one of the bus routes, the 15 that runs along Colfax, will have more buses to help students get home as well. So you can anticipate some heavier traffic on Colfax as well this morning. So again, a lot of activity taking place, a lot of road closures, a lot of just police activity. So best to avoid this area around East High School if possible.
Okay, Mackenzie, thank you so much. Now, we are continuing to get updates on the two victims who were shot. We do know they were taken to Denver Health. Here's what the chief medical officer at Denver Health had to tell us just a couple minutes ago.
So we received two males in serious condition today, and one of them is in the operating room, as you heard earlier from the mayor, and the other one is being cared for in serious condition. And our level 1 trauma center is responding as we do for these types of traumas, and we are equipped to respond quickly, and that is what we are here for.
So again, two victims shot, two males. They were deans at the school. They were the ones performing the pat down on the suspect, who has still not been apprehended, at least not as of yet. One of those victims is in serious condition, the other in critical condition and in surgery at Denver Health.
Yeah, so I think it's important here that we should update as well about this active search for the alleged shooter, which Denver police, as well as the mayor and the Denver Public Schools superintendent was telling us is a student who had been in this agreement with the school where he would undergo a pat down or a search every single day before school. They say that he had never brought a weapon to school before. Today, that seemingly changed. And in these pat downs, they were describing, they weren't able to share a lot of details, because this does involve a juvenile, but they were saying that this would happen in a separate room. So that's presumably why this student was alone with these two men that he allegedly shot. And then he took off. He took off running. Denver police have said they have identified who this student is. Again, because he's a juvenile, they're not sharing his name, but they have an idea of where he lives. They have a search warrant to execute that at the home, but the search is still ongoing. So this is a student, a black student under the age of 18, last seen wearing a hoodie with an astronaut on it. Of course, please be on the lookout if you're in that area, but do know that this person is potentially quite dangerous. The police chief stopped short of calling this a public threat, but clearly this is a dangerous situation happening in the East High community. And
the mayor did point out that young man does have an afro. Our Michael Abeyta has been live at East High School all morning. Michael, what are you learning?
Well, over here on the south side of the school, things really starting to quiet down now as the release happens and parents are picking up and reuniting with their students over on the north side of the high school. So things really quiet over here, but earlier parents were showing up very distraught, very scared, looking for their students, their sons and daughters here at the school. And students that were not in school or had left school after the shooting were really not too surprised that this happened. We talked to one student who said that they have a lockdown like every week. As you can see behind me, there are more students being let out, and students saying that really any more lockdowns and situations like this don't even faze them. It doesn't bother them because stuff like this happens so often. Here's one student had to say when Jasmine Arenas asked him how it made him feel that this shooting happened this morning.
I'm not really sad or hurt by it because it's so normal at this point.
Wow.
I'm just he was asking me, or one of the other interviewers asked me how do I feel walking through the doors and blah blah. I don't feel a certain type of way. I'm I'm just
Like
always,
desensitized.
yeah, I'm just always more aware and ready to just like leave if I have to.
And that's the sentiment that we got from a lot of students who were here when it first happened, when the shooting occurred, is that they're just ready to take care of themselves and get themselves to safety. They have their own personal plans of escape when things like this happen, and again, not at this point that they don't even really feel afraid. As you can see, more students leaving East High School to be reunited with their families. As Joe Hillen said earlier, a lot of these students have been able to contact their parents via cell phone to let their parents know that they are okay. One advantage of having technology in schools at this time was not in schools. As we've been talking about all morning, is SROs, or school resource officers. A lot of parents I talked to earlier just really frustrated that they had been removed from the schools. Even students saying that they felt unsafe and that they felt like they were in danger because there was no one here to protect them. So again, just things out here quieting down on the south side of the school. But I know that there are still plenty of parents and students out here that are relieved, but very upset and sad and angry that this has once again happened in a community where it's familiar, but it never gets easier.
Michael LeBeda live for us outside of East High School this morning as we continue to follow breaking news. And Kelly, you were watching those students as they were walking out, and you heard in that soundbite as well, they just kind of feel numb. And you mentioned that earlier, just kind of almost like, okay, here we go again. Unfortunately, this has become all too common.
Right. I mean, and Michael LeBeda was giving us a report a short time ago, too, where he was pointing out that, there was a shooting, sadly, at East High School just over a month ago, back on February 13th, and a 16-year-old student, Luis Garcia, was shot. He died because of that shooting, and there's a memorial for him over there just outside the school, the same place where parents now have to walk by that memorial to pick up their kids for yet another shooting at this high school. We've been seeing parents obviously showing up to get their students, to get their kids and loved ones who are there, and then voicing and visually sharing their frustration with the police chief, with the DPS superintendent, with the mayor, wanting change, wanting security for their kids. We